I'm Vinnie Politan. The subject of my investigation, the violent sexual assaults of two teenage girls by the same offender. He's been caught and prosecuted, but not really punished. Here's the story. Jesse Butler was a star high school athlete in Stillwater, Oklahoma, a big man on campus. But Jesse's life flipped when multiple 16-year-old girls accused him of repeated rape, strangulation, and violent assault. Police found video on his phone showing one victim unconscious from choking, a doctor saying she would have died if it lasted seconds longer. Facing up to 78 years behind bars, the community expected accountability. Instead, prosecutors applied the youthful offender statute, and in a stunning turn, Butler received a suspended 78-year sentence, avoiding prison time under strict supervision. Victims' families erupted in outrage, calling the result a betrayal of justice and an insult to trauma. What message does this send when a violent offender like this faces no real consequences? Get ready to shake your head for the next hour as we go through this story and try to understand what happened here in Oklahoma. Let's begin by bringing in Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas, who's been on this story. Cody, let's start first, because I think we all need a clear understanding and picture of the specific allegations of the type of conduct we're talking about in this case.
Yeah, Vinny, it's kind of egregious when you really go through it. Jesse Butler faced 10 rape-related charges for alleged incidents that happened throughout 2024. Now, he pleaded no contest to them in the spring of 2025. But two victims came forward describing brutal sexual assaults, attacks that left them injured, no less. They said Butler forced them into having sexual intercourse and into doing sexual acts, saying they lived in fear, giving in to Butler's sexual demands in order to avoid him hurting them even more. Now, these two girls said they each dated Butler for a few months each. One victim described multiple violent sexual assaults. Now, she said one time she told Butler she did not want to have sex with him, but, and we'll quote from the rest of the arrest warrant affidavit now, Butler became angry, came up behind her, put his arm around her neck, and strangled her to unconsciousness. She could not breathe, scratched at his arms and tried to get away, but she could not free herself. The victim woke up on the floor of the living room after losing consciousness. Vinnie goes on to say she reported there were red marks across her neck after Butler strangled her. Approximately 15 minutes after strangling her, Butler initiated sexual intercourse with her. Butler had sexual intercourse 3 or 4 times. The victim complied out of fear that he would strangle her again or hurt her. Now, the victim reported Butler wanted to have sexual intercourse every day. She described feeling coerced to comply to avoid being hurt. In addition to sexual intercourse, the victim reported Butler forced her to perform oral sex on him. He forcefully grabbed her head and pushed her down onto his penis. And after that, we feel the story becomes a bit too graphic to read on our show. But it goes on also to say the victim reported Butler digitally penetrated her so aggressively it caused her to bleed. The victim stated, "No matter what I told him, it did not change his mind." Now, there are many stories like this. Now, these two victims describe Butler forcing them into many different kinds of sexual acts that they didn't want any part of. And on top of all of that, investigators say they found a video they say shows Butler strangling one of the victims until she's unconscious. They say the timestamp backs up the victim's story. Now, I want to point out, Butler wasn't charged with rape by sexual intercourse. So prosecutors determined that while he allegedly coerced these girls into having sex with him, they ultimately consented. The charges were strangulation related and for kidnapping, sexual battery, and attempted rape and rape by instrumentation, among others. And again, Butler didn't spend any time in prison as a result of a deal between prosecutors and the defense. Now, Butler is now 18, but he was under 18 when these alleged incidents happened. He was given a 78-year sentence that would have resulted in around 10 years in prison if served concurrently, Vinny.
And it's corroborated by the video. So one of the stories, that she gives, one of the statements that one of the victims gives is fully corroborated on the video, which tells you about the rest of their statements as well. Now, let's talk about the victims here. Have we heard anything from the victims.
Yeah, Vinny, we have. The arrest warrant affidavit included what looks to be a letter one of the victims wrote to the court. And in it, she says, quote, "I will never forget the night you strangled me unconscious because I said no. That moment changed my life. A medical professional later told me that I was just 30 seconds away from dying. 30 seconds. If you had kept your hands on my neck just a little longer, I wouldn't be standing here today. That wasn't just a scare. It was a near-death experience. You didn't just hurt me. You nearly killed me. And because of that one act of violence, I had to have surgery on my neck. The damage you caused wasn't invisible, and it wasn't temporary. The pain lingered for months, and now the scar is something I'll carry for the rest of my life, a permanent reminder of what you did to me. I will never forget marble slab when you pinned me down, touched my body without permission while I begged you to stop. I screamed no over and over, and you ignored it. I will never forget what it felt like when you pinned me inside your truck and said, 'You're not going anywhere until I finish,' like I was just something to be used. You didn't just hurt me physically, you took pieces of my safety, my peace, and my sense of who I was. What you did wasn't just violence, it was betrayal, fear, shame, humiliation, and pain layered over and over. Over and over again, he told me that if I ever told anyone what he was doing, he would kill me, he would kill my family. I hope that one day you actually face what you've done, not just get punished, but really face it. Every time you ignored my no, every time you forced yourself on me, every time you laughed while I cried. I hope you understand how much it haunts me." And Vinny, some parents of the victims also wrote letters to the court as well, but Vinny, reading those words right there written by that victim, it's almost like you can just feel the pain and trauma with each word and each line that she wrote in that letter.
And again, the allegation corroborated on video. All right, Cody's going to stick around tonight. Thanks, Cody. That gets us to our first question tonight. And I think this is the most important question. What about the victims? What about these two victims? What about victims in general, future victims? Nothing happened to this young man, nothing of consequence. Here to help answer that question, digital journalist Justin Shepard. Justin's been working to shed light on the story to help protect victims and prevent others from being harmed. And Pascal, the host of the Pascal Show, Justin reached out to Pascal to flag him about this story and has been on it. Justin, I think, you know, the story starts with the victims here. You know, what about the victims? And I feel like for these two young ladies, it's going to be a long, difficult road for them. And then the salt in the wound is that, oh, look who's out.
Yeah, so I totally agree with you. And I think that for these two that came forward, it shows tremendous courage, and they were hoping to get justice. And what they really had happen to them was originally that 78-year sentence whittled down to 150 hours of community service. And I know that I'm oversimplifying that. But basically, that's what this is about, and what the state of Oklahoma, what Payne County, Oklahoma said to these victims, in my opinion, is that you don't matter. This guy's more important, and what he did to you is of no consequence. And that's really what it's saying to these girls, because they're girls, they're children, right? They're 16 years old when this happens. You can see that he's a big guy. He overpowers them, and there's no justice. This is not justice.
No, you know, Pascal, it's 2025. That to me, it's 2020. I thought we had turned the corner everywhere, apparently not everywhere, in empowering victims and giving them, say, hey, we're there for you. The system is there for you. Prosecutors are there for you. They will fight for you. They will protect you. And that's not happening here.
You know what's really frustrating about this whole situation is that this is showing proof positive that if you know somebody, if you are connected in some sort of way, you could practically get away with murder. You have these people who are courageous, these women, these young girls that are courageous to step forward and speak out. And now, like what Justin said so beautifully, they're basically being told that, hey, you're just another one. Because, hey, he's going to go out there and do this again. And I'm not surprised if he's not out there doing it again right now as we speak.
I want to show you an image Justin. This is from OklahomaWatch.org, and it's Jesse and I guess it's his mother, and they're in the hallway in the courtroom. There's another woman with them. The mother's on the left. He's got like his shades on. Like, what? To me, like a picture can speak volumes. Is there a sense of entitlement, of empowerment over the situation? Like, what's your sense, Justin, of what was going through the mind of this, what do I want to call him? Well, he's convicted, this convicted offender, this convicted, monster. What's your take on his take on what's happening to him?
So the other woman in the photo, as I understand it, is his sister, the one that's on the right. And here's kind of what I think's going on here, and obviously this is my opinion. Jesse Mac Butler is the son of Mac Butler, who is the former director of football operations for OSU, for Oklahoma State University, which is in Stillwater, Oklahoma, where they live. I kind of feel that what this is a situation of, it's a good old boys club. It's about who you know. When you're talking about a town like Stillwater, Oklahoma, that relies on a college like this, you have a person, the mom, my understanding, works for OSU still. The dad used to be a coach, director of football operations. That's going to carry a lot of weight in a town like that. And I feel that there's a lot of entitlement that, hey, and if you watch the body cam footage, he's like, mommy's going to get you out. Mommy's going to get you out of trouble. So there's no accountability from what I see, even from the side of the parents. Like, she knows, what he's being accused of. She knows why he's being arrested. And then allegedly, and this is according to one of the parents of one of the victims, that there was even an incident at that home where he was trying to force himself on one of these girls. She was screaming, struggling, saying no. Mom walks up to the door, knocks on it, and says, hey, is everything okay in there? Jesse responds and says, yeah, everything's fine, and she walks away. This is under her own roof. So I feel like you have a lot of entitlement there with who the Butler family is in Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Yeah, I want to show another picture. This is a picture of one of the victims. Obviously, the face will be blurred out. It's from the New York Post. They say they got it from the victim's family. That's this young girl in the hospital. In the hospital, Pascal. This isn't a case of like, oh, he said, she said, oh, maybe it was, no, maybe. No, there are actual injuries. There's video document. Like, there's no doubt about what happened here. And that's why he pleaded no contest to a certain extent, because he knew the evidence was there. He got a sweet deal, we understand. But at the end of this is real. This isn't like, oh, it's in the gray area. It's not even close to the gray area.
Oh, this whole thing is as clear as black and white. There is no reason for him to even be able to be out here breathing in this freedom air, being free right now. I still just don't understand. This whole thing angers me beyond, I can't even put into words. I don't know how this kid, this monster, wearing his shades, thinking that he's Hollywood because he's got connections, because his parents have connections. And of course, he's a mama's boy, all right? How he really thinks that he can get away with this kind of stuff and be able to live his life. And as soon as he turns 19, these charges will just get completely wiped clean and he'll be able to go on with his life. This is not right. And this is not what I call justice at all.
All right. Our guests are going to stick around. Coming up next, why did Jesse Butler get this deal?
Here you are, responsible for the lifelong torment of an entire family. Is that evil in your mind now? So now you've taken her mother's life, and you heroically step in to console her.
I knew it was wrong, but yeah, I still did it.
Did you murder her mother to try and drive her back into your arms? Oh my God.
Interview with a Killer. New episode Saturday night at 8 Eastern and Pacific, only on Court TV.
No justice, no peace.
We're done. We're done not saying anything. We're done allowing rapists to walk free.
Public not happy, showing up at the courthouse. Pretty large numbers. I mean, in Stillwater, Oklahoma, you're not in the middle of a major city. and people outraged by what has happened in this case. Let's bring back in Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas. Cody, let's get to the deal now, because everyone's been talking about the deal, and that's what everyone is upset about, obviously. What was the deal here?
Well, Vinny, the agreement kept Jesse Butler out of prison, actually. Now, KJRH, 2 News Oklahoma, reported this. A deal made between the prosecution and defense resulted in no jail time, but counseling instead. Now, Butler's father is a former football director at Oklahoma State University, leaving some to believe his connections led to a lighter sentence. Now, they noted his charges were, quote, downgraded to a youthful offender. Now, all of this upset many people in that area of Oklahoma, and some gathered for a protest. Take a look.
As a, victim myself, I believe that women have the right to, to stand up for themselves and justice to be served, honestly. And none of these girls are getting the justice that they deserve. The plea deal is it's not okay. It's not enough for him. It's not enough. It's a severe trauma that he's inflicted on these women. And for him to get a slap on the wrist, it's not okay.
I feel terrible for those young women. Like, almost losing your life, having a video being recorded of you almost losing your life, and your assaulter being able to just walk with no punishment, a slap on the wrist, and 150 hours of community service. Like, that's just ridiculous. DA and the assistant DA have such a history of either not filing charges against survivors or just allowing the rapists to walk free. I know that because I filed my case here when I was 17, and she wouldn't even file my charges.
Vinny, listening to those women speak, there's clearly a bit of unrest in the community surrounding this case here. I mean, it's not a question of if he did it. We know he did it. There's video. Clearly, people are upset about this in that community.
Yeah, it is a deal of deals for this now 18-year-old. And that brings us to the next question in our investigation. Why did Jesse Butler get this deal? Here to help with our investigation is retired Oklahoma judge and practicing attorney Ken Adair and Oklahoma State Representative Justin Humphrey, who represents the state's 19th district. Representative Humphrey has been very vocal about this story. Thank you both for being here. Ken, if I could begin with you, explain to me and the folks at home not from Oklahoma what this youthful offender statute is, what it means, how it's used, and how it was applied to this case.
We have juvenile justice statutes in Oklahoma where minors are treated in the juvenile justice system. And we have some people that are juveniles who are close to the age of 18 who tend to fall through the cracks and don't get the benefit of the juvenile justice system. So we've created this youthful offender statute, which judges have to follow it if a person is eligible for it, and the presumption that a minor cannot form the requisite intent or the mental state to commit a crime, it's a rebuttable presumption, and if the state can dredge up enough negative past information, prior involvement with the law, they can try him as an adult. It appears to me from the record that he may have been ineligible, or the state could not justify trying him as an adult, which made him eligible for the youthful offender statute. What's really interesting to me is that he pled no contest to these crimes. They also amended the information, which is the charging instrument, and I don't have access to the amended information, but the charges apparently weren't the same as they started. Also, the probable cause affidavit that was read earlier in your segments here were the initial allegations, but there was an investigation that took place. And I'm going to speak generically because these are children, these are teenagers that we're talking about. And Debbie Vincent, the prosecutor, has a very serious reputation as being a hardcore prosecutor, decades of prosecuting sex crimes, prosecuting crimes against women. She is not a pushover. And the district judge that sentenced on this no contest plea, and that's interesting, and I want to talk about that. But Judge Colling noted that he followed the dictates of the youthful offender statute. So he was sentenced to 78 years in prison. There were 10-year sentences, 10-year sentences, other sentences that are being run concurrently, but he was sentenced on no contest pleas. No contest pleas on sex cases is very rare, because if you plead no contest and you go to your sex offender treatment, you go to your counseling and you say, I didn't do anything, you're going to get kicked out and you're going to fail your probation, and off to the hoosegow he goes. So that's curious to me, and what I suspect is, and I don't know, and I think it's wrong to speculate about what did and didn't happen, because we're never going to get the whole story about what happened from these children, these teenagers, about what happened. But for whatever reason, the prosecutor apparently did not think that she could get a conviction, prove beyond a reasonable doubt every element of every crime alleged with these two victims that happened over from the time he was 16 until he was in his 17th year. So I think it's unfortunate, because the judge did what he had to do. The prosecutor did, apparently, and this is not a slouch of a prosecutor. There are lazy prosecutors. There are weak prosecutors. Debbie Vincent is not one of those people. She has a reputation of being very tough. And so you heard some anecdotal stories about people that said she wouldn't prosecute her case. I don't know that case, but I do know prosecutors have a duty to not file cases they don't believe they can get a conviction on.
Let me do this.
Because we can't get the full... Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just want to... I don't want to run out of time. We're always running against the clock here, so I just wanted to get Justin in. And Justin, your thoughts about why this happened the way it happened, and your thoughts about how it's all turned out here.
Well, first of all, we had a grand jury that was canceled just weeks before this. So in the same time period, we're trying to get a grand jury because of these type of cases that are systematic throughout this county. And so, again, it's systemic. I appreciate what your judge there is talking about as far as the how a young man gets adjudicated or not gets adjudicated, held responsible. This guy did heinous crimes. He's 17. It's my understanding, I thought they did adjudicate him and later come back and sentenced him under youthful offender. I'd have to go back and check on that. But the problem is we see a pattern in this county. If you want to go look at, I could give you names right now. We're not going to air those names. But if you want me to start naming names of cases that are just as horrific as this, I can easily name that, including in their own DA's office that they had an ADA that was caught with approximately 150 videos of child pornography in 2022 and has yet to be prosecuted. I would think that'd be high on my list to prosecute. So that's why we were there trying to get a grand jury in that county. We obstructed that. The judge illegally threw that grand jury out. And that's what we're trying to do again, is to expose this very corrupt system that is in Payne County and, again, across the state of Oklahoma. These things are going across the state of Oklahoma. I support our judges. I've 35 years. We got awesome judges. We got great people in Oklahoma in the court system, but we cannot allow our court system to be corrupted, and these people need to be held accountable.
All right, Ken, I'll give you, we have about 40 seconds left here. I'll give you the final word.
I just think it's a disservice to these judges who did what they had to do under the law that was there to protect minors from being held accountable as adults. Now, your other guest, Representative Humphreys, worked for DOC, retired from the Department of Corrections. He knows how abysmally evil that place is, and we don't need to be taking 16 and 17-year-old people and putting them in there, because they're going to get out. They're going to eventually get out, and they produce defective products. We give them the raw materials of accused criminals, convicted criminals, and they come out defective. And this process is to help protect children. Now, if he messes up, he's gone. He's going to prison. He's got to do what he's supposed to do. And there's more to the story that we will never know, because they're juveniles, they're minors, and there's stuff behind the scenes. I'm just saying, looking at these pleas and the way it played out, there's something else going on here that is not corruption. And I think it's easy to say corruption, but it's different. It's easy to make an allegation, but it's very difficult to prove an allegation.
All right. Justin, I'll give you 10 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've got abundance of proof. I agree with the judge on the prisons are bad places for bad people. But if you rape 2 women and you're 17-year-old, I think you need to be held accountable. I've got a young man, Eric Proctor, that got 330 years for aiding and abetting rape here in Oklahoma. So we'll give a juvenile. He was a juvenile also. I agree with the judge. We need to clean up our prison, and we need to have evidence. It's easy. I agree with him. You have evidence. I'm a guy who goes to court a lot. I wouldn't bring forward and call corruption if I didn't have evidence. I agree with everything the judge is saying, but I do have evidence.
Gotcha. Ken Adair, Justin Humphrey, appreciate your time and your passion. Still to come, why was this arrest handled with kid gloves? I'm Vinnie Politan. We continue our investigation of the violent sexual attacks of 2 teenagers and an offender who was given a break and escaped true punishment for his crimes. Here's the story. In the heart of Oklahoma's college town, neighbors were rocked by the revelation that star teen athlete Jesse Butler was accused of a campaign of sexual violence against 2 teenage girls. He pleaded no contest to 10 rape-related charges, including a count of violating a protective order. His victims' voices filled with pain and with fear. The video, the medical reports, the phone records all told a story of cruelty and suffering. Yet, when the sentence came, outside the courtroom, families wept. Under the youthful offender law, Butler's 78-year term was suspended, and he remains free under supervision until he turns 19. Protesters flooded the courthouse demanding the system protect its girls. If brutal sexual assault doesn't demand some prison time, what does justice truly mean? I told you at the top you'd be shaking your head all hour. Let's bring back in Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas, help us walk through the story. Now, let's talk about the day he gets arrested. What are the circumstances surrounding his arrest?
Well, Vinnie, of course, there were 2 victims who were in romantic relationships with Jesse Butler for a few months each, who initially brought these allegations against him. But before we get into those circumstances surrounding the arrest, let's take a look at that body cam video from the day he was arrested in March of 2025.
We're ready to obviously tell our story too.
Yeah.
Jess, it's Mom. Open the door. It's me.
And if you'll just have him step out, then.
Give me your wallet and phone and stuff. So, okay. Your what?
They're in the car.
Well, okay, it's fine. It's not locked or anything, is it? Okay. So, can you tell him what you just told me, or?
Yeah. So we're here. We're obviously going to place you under arrest. There's a warrant for your arrest. We're going to take you to the jail. I told your mom that she can contact a bondsman, and you shouldn't be there very long. But there just is a process for paperwork and stuff. But right now, you do have to come with us, and I do have to put you in handcuffs. So turn around for me.
You have to put him in handcuffs?
I
There's requirement for us to come transport somebody in custody.
You know we're going to win this. It's okay. Yeah. I'll get you out. For me? All right. Stay silent. Rick knows about this. Candy's on this. Dad's on his way. We're coming to get you, okay? Stay strong, okay? Say your prayers.
Okay, so he's going to go right to the city of Stillwater jail, and if you'll just contact her, then she does this all the time. She knows what to do.
Yep.
Make sure
Okay.
she knows Stillwater Police Department, not a county.
Stillwater Police Department on Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them know that we're the ones that picked him up.
And
They
when
don't-
you say we are the ones.
Stillwater PD.
Stillwater PD.
Yeah.
Okay.
That way they don't think he went like straight over and over to the county.
Awful experience for a child.
Bring him in custody. Yeah. Get that charge. I'll pat you down. Spread your feet for me. Nothing in your socks.
Yeah, Vinny, so police seem a little gentle there given the heavy circumstances here, but let's talk about the first victim. Now, she was underage, so she was not named in the arrest affidavit, but the document shows that she and Butler dated from January to March of 2024. On September 12th of that year, a school resource officer took a report from the victim who says Butler twice attempted to rape and assault her. And after an investigation, several other sexually violent incidents were presented between Butler and the victim in February of 2024. All of that, of course, according to the affidavit. Now, the second victim dated Butler from March to September of 2024. She reported her incidents to the school resource officer at the same time as the first victim. Now, this victim's allegations concerned domestic assault and battery by strangulation. An investigation into her story found more instances of physical aggression and violence, so much to the point where this victim said she felt coerced to have sex with Butler to avoid being strangled and further abused. Now, Jesse Butler was 17 years old at the time of his arrest. He's 18 now, but let's take a look at the charges he faced when he was arrested as outlined by the arrest affidavit. Now, for the first victim, you have domestic assault and battery, a misdemeanor, followed by several felonies, including domestic abuse and strangulation, sexual battery, rape by instrumentation, sodomy, attempted first-degree rape, and kidnapping. Charges related to the second victim include all of that except the first-degree rape and the kidnapping charges. Now, we know that Butler pled no contest to the 10 rape-related charges and is serving, of course, that suspended 78-year sentence without being behind bars, Vinny.
All right, what a contrast. Cody, thanks so much. Great work tonight. And the contrast between the level of these charges that the arrest is for and the nature of the actual arrest. And it brings us to the next question in our investigation. Why was this arrest handled with kid gloves? Is it because he's just 17? Here to help answer that question is Pascal, the host of The Pascal Show, and former law enforcement officer and host of the Strong Enough podcast, Claudia King. Claudia, I'll begin with you. You saw the list of the charges. That's what the arrest is for. And then we all watched the way the arrest went down. Why do you think that he was treated that particular way? Is that normal? Is that not normal? Is it because he's 17? What are your thoughts about how that arrest went down?
My thoughts are the arrest went down that way because of influence. I believe that the Mack family clearly is influential in that community. They know other people who are influential, and so they had to treat him that way or else be forced to seek retribution or see retribution in their actions from this family and from people who know this family. It was not normal how he was treated. The search was terrible, by the way, of him before they put him in the car. Just very disappointing all the way around with this case.
Pascal, what went through your mind the first time you saw the arrest video?
What a crybaby. Justice is coming, but apparently justice was not coming. You know, what's really frustrating about this is that we are consistently seeing countless times repeat offenders getting a slap on the wrist. And this is exactly what we're seeing right now. And what I fear is that the likes of this kid, Jesse, is going to do something even more violent. He's going to do something even more egregious, even more nefarious. I mean, look at the likes of Keon King. Look at the likes of Jake Haro, what he did to Emmanuel Haro. These guys were repeat offenders, and the courts, once again, were very light to them when they should have been hit with the entire library, not just the book, the whole damn library.
Claudia, when you're making an arrest, and I don't know if there's what the standard procedure is, how often does a discussion precede it? Like explaining to someone why you're being arrested and then rather than like, you know, put your hands behind your back, cuff them and explain them. Because we watch a lot of body cam videos, and this just struck me differently, but I don't know if it's normal for these circumstances. Just physically, like when he gets cuffed and when he gets told and the way that goes.
I didn't think it was normal. I mean, obviously, you always want to be respectful to the individual that you're arresting. Technically, they are innocent until proven guilty. So you want to be respectful. You don't want to purposely hurt them, but at the same time, you don't need to be all sweet and kind and talk to their mommy first and explain everything to her and let her go in the house and get him. I just thought the way that they treated him was absolutely not normal. Again, you don't have to purposely try to hurt him, but you should treat him like the criminal that he is currently alleged to be. He is a dangerous person at this moment, and that's how he should have been treated, and he definitely was not.
Yeah, Pascal, you talk about things like kidnapping and attempted rape, and these are extremely serious, yet there doesn't seem to be that same level of seriousness at the actual arrest. Like there was, you watch body camera videos all the time too, and obviously some circumstances a little more hyped up than others. If there's a chase, I understand there was some coordination here, but still you don't know how that suspect is going to react. It was really strange to me.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is the whole, as you said, this whole kid gloves type of thing, instead of actually treating him exactly how he is, as a criminal. I don't understand why they would sit there and try to be kind to him. Absolutely put him in handcuffs. Absolutely pat him down, do the search, because he's supposed to be a criminal. He is a criminal. So it doesn't make any sense that this kid is still out here being able to be a kid.
Yeah.
He lost that privilege when he did those things to those multiple people that stepped forward and spoke out against him.
Pascal, host of the Pascal Show. Make sure you check it out on YouTube, folks. Thanks so much. Claudia's going to stick around. Coming up next, was justice served in this case? Sunday nights on Court TV. Join us for a night of food, friends, and our favorite legal dramas. It's Order in the Court. And this week,
I'm Dr. Jason Bull. I study a jury's behavioral patterns. Just give me more. Not guilty, thank you. The verdict you get depends on me. You don't get a name like Bull because you give up before the game is over.
we're binge watching Bull. Sunday starting at 6, 5 Central on Court TV. Okay, let's recap what we've learned this hour. 2 16-year-old girls are systematically abused sexually and violently by a 17-year-old. The 17-year-old gets charged, goes to court, 78 years, suspended, treated as a youthful offender, ends up serving not one single day in incarceration, do some counseling, community service, age 19, he is free to go. That brings us to the next question in our investigation. Was justice served in this case? Back with us, digital journalist Justin Shepard, helping us out here, and still with us, former law enforcement officer, host of the Strong Enough podcast, Claudia King. Justin, what are your thoughts here about justice being served?
Well, I don't think that justice was served in this situation. I think that when he was facing 78 years, that was more like justice, because now what you have is you have 2 young girls, both left with a lot of trauma, emotional scars, one of them with physical scars on her neck from the surgery that she had to get because of the injuries he inflicted on her. And basically, he gets to walk out free. And when he turns 19, he's not going to be on a sex offender registry. This is going to be wiped completely clean on a background check. It'll be like it never happened to him. Meanwhile, these young girls, and they're young, this is 16 years old when this happened. And you see the pictures of him in the video. He's a big guy. He gets to live his life while they carry the scars and the trauma of that day, or those days, plural.
Yeah, it's so right. It's a youthful offender statute that protects youthful offenders, but there's nothing there to protect the youthful victims. Claudia King, was justice served here?
Absolutely not, because as was just mentioned, these two victims now have permanent damage, trauma, scars even, to leave this story with them for the rest of their lives. And Jesse Butler has nothing, and he's already a repeat offender. That's what, we forget sometimes. These were two different individuals that he was charged with. So he's already a repeat offender, a repeat domestic violence offender. So the fact that he's going to repeat again is almost certain, especially because he got off with nothing this time. So this only emboldens him and tells him in his mind that I got away with it, I can get away with it again. That's not justice.
Yeah, that photo from the New York Post that they got from the family of one of the victims in the hospital is so devastating. And Justin, what is so disheartening about all of this, they're younger than he is, and as you mentioned, they're smaller than he is, and they don't get out from under this. There's no way to get out from under as to what they had to endure. You've been shining a bright light on all this. What are your thoughts about the future, or what happens next in all of this?
Well, there's one thing that I think that's important for your viewers to know that I don't believe was mentioned yet, and that's the fact that with the two girls that came forward, as I understand, there's a third one who has not come forward, because you can see why there's no justice here. Both of those girls, between the two of them that came forward, experienced 3 strangulations. For one of the girls, he strangled her to the point of unconsciousness, and when she came to, he wanted to film it, so he did it again so he could film it to that same girl. And they found that video on his phone during the search. So it's one of those things. It's very black and white. It exists. And I think that when you're looking at somebody who is strangling people for funsies to the point that they're unconscious, to the point that one of them almost dies, this is somebody who is, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when he kills somebody.
Yeah. Claudia, how concerned are you about that, about this same young man, now he's an adult, 18, ending up victimizing someone else?
I believe it's absolutely going to happen, because yes, when somebody does the act of strangulation, there's a higher chance that the victim is going to die at some point. He's just trading out victims. So the chance that he is going to kill somebody at some point is extremely high, because yes, he did this and then said, oops, I forgot to capture the Kodak moment, so let me go at it again. So he wanted that trophy to keep. That's a depraved mind. He is definitely going to kill somebody, and I hope that the DAs, the judge, everyone involved in this complete miscarriage of justice doesn't sleep a wink, because they will be responsible for everything he does from here on out.
Absolutely, and let's hope the counseling has some impact. Big thanks, Justin Shepard, great work on this, really appreciate it, and Claudia King, always great to have your perspective. You know, the biggest problem I have with this defendant being given another opportunity by the youthful offender statute is his history. This was not an isolated incident, not a one-off. There were 2 victims, at least 2 victims. And equally troubling is the fact that he violated a protective order. These factors, in my opinion, make this decision very questionable about allowing him to become a youthful offender. I'm Vinnie Politan. We'll keep digging for answers as the investigation continues.